Welcome to NTD Good Morning.
Here are today's top stories. President Trump ends trade negotiations with Canada. This after Canadian TV ad. We have the details.
Holiday travel could soon face major turbulence. The Trump administration warns the ongoing government shutdown may cause flight delays and cancellations as air traffic controllers miss their first paychecks.
More than 30 people, including current and former NBA stars, arrested in a federal gambling probe. How investigators say players faked injuries and ran mafia-backed poker games in one of the biggest sports scandals in years.
Alaska Airlines flights are back in the air after a nationwide tech outage, but some delays could persist.
An illegal immigrant accused of causing a crash in California that left 3 people dead. Now federal officials say he shouldn't ever have had a commercial driving license.
And as the weather cools down, we turn to the kitchen, where Chef Thierry Amezcua shows us how to make some warming fall recipes to enjoy throughout the season.
This is NTD Good Morning, live from our global headquarters in New York City. Here are Stephanie Cox and Carrie Dunst.
Good morning. Great to have you with us.
Today is Friday, October 24th. In today's top news, President Trump says he's terminating all trade negotiations with Canada over a television ad.
Yeah, the $75 million Ontario ad campaign used the image and voice of Ronald Reagan criticizing tariffs.
The president called the advertisement fraudulent, saying it was designed to influence an upcoming Supreme Court hearing on his administration's tariffs. In a post on Truth Social, he wrote, "Based on their egregious behavior, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated." President
Trump, of course, having a picture of Reagan in the Oval Office. The Reagan Presidential Foundation says the ad misrepresented Reagan's 1987 address on free trade. Ontario Premier Doug Ford defended the ad as factual, while Prime Minister Mark Carney said Canada won't allow the U.S. to have what he called unfair market access if the trade talks were to fail. The Supreme Court is set to hear arguments on U.S. tariffs November 5th.
And President Trump also spoke about China yesterday. Trump says the regime is smuggling fentanyl into the United States through Venezuela.
And the president says the aim is to bypass U.S. and Mexican controls.
So I'm meeting with President Xi, and I would say we have some big issues, like with the farmers and various other things, but the first question I'm going to be asking him about is fentanyl. And if you think about it, they make $100 million. Think of this. They make $100 million selling fentanyl into our country, $100 million. They lose $100 billion with the 20% tariff. So it's not a good business proposition. It's $100 billion approximately that they have to pay. That's a big penalty to make $100 million.
Trump will meet Chinese Communist Party leader Xi Jinping next week as part of a trip to Asia. The president departs for Malaysia late tonight and will also visit South Korea, where he'll meet Xi next Thursday.
FBI Director Kash Patel told lawmakers earlier this year he had spoken to counter-narcotics authorities in China. Patel urged them to restrict exports of more fentanyl precursor chemicals. The Chinese Ministry of Public Security in August added 7 chemicals to an export control list, 3 of them central to producing fentanyl.
The holiday season is approaching, and the gridlock on Capitol Hill could affect people's travel plans. The Trump administration and Republican leaders in Congress yesterday warned that flight disruptions will increase as the government shutdown enters its 4th week. NTD's Daniel Monahan reports on that and other shutdown updates.
The White House yesterday warned that the ongoing government shutdown could cause delays for air travel as the holiday season approaches.
If the Democrats continue to keep the government closed, we fear there will be significant flight delays, disruptions, and cancellations in major airports across the country this holiday season.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt accused Democrats of playing political games.
And a senior Democrat aide said the party will not end the shutdown, quote, short of planes falling out of the sky.
At present, approximately 13,000 air traffic controllers and 50,000 TSA officers are working without being paid. October 28th will mark the controller's first missed paycheck, which is expected to cause more absences among workers. The FAA yesterday said air traffic control staffing issues are delaying travel at airports in New York, Washington, Newark, and Houston. Staffing issues were reported at 10 different locations, and ground stops were issued at Houston, Bush, and Newark airports. Flights at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport were being delayed an average of 31 minutes, and delays at New York LaGuardia were averaging 62 minutes. A group representing mayors of more than 1,000 U.S. cities has urged the Agriculture Department to use emergency funds to cover food assistance benefits threatened by the shutdown. Tens of millions of Americans might not receive food stamps and other food aid in November because the shutdown, now the second longest in history, has kept Congress from funding the benefits. The nonpartisan U.S. Conference of Mayors sent a letter to Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins yesterday, urging the USDA to cover SNAP program November benefits. And lawmakers yesterday traded barbs over the ongoing shutdown.
It's ridiculous, and a lot of innocent people are being hurt. People are getting food stamps back in my state are no longer getting those, and this is supposed to be a safety net for them.
We will consider in good faith anything bipartisan that emerges from the Senate.
I would say to my Democrat colleagues, like, stop making people suffer. I mean, real people are suffering right now. Let's stop this. I mean, I don't get it. Stop that, and we'll work on the healthcare thing.
And on the state level, Governor Glenn Youngkin declared a state of emergency in Virginia yesterday to provide relief for residents at risk of losing federal food benefits next month. Youngkin says over 850,000 residents in the state could lose benefits. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.
Meanwhile, Alaska Airlines says it's restoring operations after a nationwide technology outage grounded flights across the country. The outage yesterday also affected its regional carrier, Horizon Air, triggering a temporary ground stop. The airline apologized for the disruption and urged travelers to check their flight status before heading to the airport. Flight tracking data showed about 100 fewer Alaska Airlines planes in the air compared to last week. It's the latest in a string of IT issues for the airline, including similar groundings in April and July. The airline says it's working to get flights back on schedule, but warns delays could continue as aircraft and crews are repositioned. We're following the developments involving current and former NBA stars arrested and charged in an illegal gambling and sports betting operation.
NTD's Washington correspondent Jack Bradley brings us the story.
The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states.
More than 30 people, including current and former NBA stars, are being charged in 2 overlapping cases involving illegal sports betting and mafia-backed poker games. Portland Trail Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups and Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier are among those arrested and charged on Thursday.
Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Casa Nostra.
Authorities say Rozier was part of a conspiracy to profit off of non-public NBA information, including when players plan to sit out or leave a game early. In one instance, while playing for Charlotte in March 2023, prosecutors say Rozier told others that he'd fake an injury and leave a game early, allowing others to win big by betting against his stats.
Most of these bets succeeded, and the intended losses were in the millions of dollars.
Rozier's lawyer, Jim Trusty, calls the charges baseless. He told CNN Sports that his client was cleared by the NBA last year and that prosecutors are, quote, taking the word of spectacularly incredible sources rather than relying on actual evidence of wrongdoing. Meanwhile, Portland head coach Chauncey Billups faces charges in a separate mafia-backed poker rigging operation. Prosecutors say they operated underground poker games using X-ray tables and fake shuffling machines to steal from wealthy players. Victims were allegedly lured in by the chance to play alongside celebrities, but sometimes losing hundreds of thousands of dollars per game.
The so-called face cards included the defendant Chauncey Billups and also Damon Jones, a former NBA player and coach.
Authorities say members of the Italian-American mafia families took cuts of the profits and used extortion and crypto laundering to move the money,
including the gunpoint robbery of a person in order to obtain a rigged shuffling machine, and extortions that were perpetrated against victims in order to ensure that they repaid their gambling debts.
Both Billups and Rozier have been placed on leave by their teams, and the NBA says it's reviewing the indictments. They're also calling it a serious matter and saying the integrity of the game remains its top priority. Reporting by Jack Bradley, NTD News.
And joining us to discuss the FBI case and more is John Deaton. He's an attorney with the Deaton Law Firm and a former federal prosecutor. John, thanks for joining this morning. These allegations, of course, headline grabbing in particular because of the notoriety of the NBA players and the infamy of the crime families. But what were your initial reactions to all of this?
Well, like most people, and thank you for having me, I was in shock. I mean, we haven't heard certain names for a long time. I thought it was the 80s, listening to Bonanno, Genovese, and the Gambino crime families. And it just goes to show you that history tends to repeat itself. Organized crime finds a way to exploit human weakness, whether that's greed or arrogance or sex or any of those things. And so, you know, it just goes to show you that when you think organized crime is down, they're not.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. I remember Giuliani's rise to prominence in taking on many of those crime families. Now, most of the sports movies that depict organized crime, and there are many famous ones, they show meddling with sports betting, and the bad guy uses a threat of violence or a bribe or even both to target the more vulnerable targets, such as underpaid players, you know, back in the day when being a professional athlete didn't make the millions that it does today. But in this modern era, these NBA stars are all multimillionaires. So I'm trying to understand why they would participate. Are you aware of any kind of extortion or traps that organized crime uses to target high-profile people?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's no longer so much we're going to threaten to break your leg or your arm type threats. It's a different type of threat where they use leverage. They get these young multimillionaire players. I mean, let's face it, they can be college-age players, and they get them into owing money. And now the threat, instead of breaking your leg, is that they use social media. And with social media, the real threat is we can ruin your reputation, instant knowledge across the world. And that kind of leverage is just as powerful in today's age of celebrity than breaking a leg was in the 1980s.
You bring up such a good point, and you've heard about this tactic used by the Chinese Communist Party when they invite diplomats or high-profile business people, setting these like honey traps where it just takes one moment of weakness to allow an opening, and then you're sort of at a compromised position. One of the tactics used moving on to the poker games was hustling wealthy players through the allure of the celebrities, and then using these X-ray tables, trick card dispensers, and even threatening violence if the debts weren't paid. So in your view, how pervasive are these types of illegal operations?
Listen, I think they're way more common than people think. You have these private sporting bet rings that have proliferated. Look, organized crime, they adapt with technology. As we advance in technology, so does organized crime. And now today, they're using athletes, celebrities, social media influencers as bait to get people in and to get wealthy people. And these events are no longer happening in a smoky basement somewhere. They're in luxury penthouses all across the world in some of the biggest, five-star hotels you could imagine. And so it's pretty common. And I think that this is a big day to try to nip it in the bud.
Yeah, it seems like most of the emphasis on the Trump administration was on cartels and overseas wars. But now they're making quite a statement by directly making a big splash against organized crime, something that you're saying is a much bigger issue than maybe we've thought about since the 80s, since those, New York mafioso days. But I want to pivot now, John, while I have you, to talk about sports betting. It's huge online with television ads promoting it. It's now legal in 38 states. The books themselves are highly regulated, unlike the old days where, organized crime ran most of the sports books, but the scale is staggering. We're talking a $20 billion industry for the operators with over $140 billion wagered annually, just in America, not globally. So as a society, what questions do you think we should be asking to avoid some of these very dark elements and outcomes that come along with sports betting?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, when you're talking about a $20 billion industry, $140 billion, as you said, in bets, that's going to attract all types of elements. And certainly organized crime, as we just witnessed, is still live and well in the game. And, this is a real delicate issue because how do we balance freedom and the ability for an adult to be able to choose to engage how they spend their money and the activities they engage with real consumer and public policy protection? And so I think we need to start imposing more on conflicts of interest, making those conflicts of interest available, appearances of impropriety. We seem to get away from that kind of society, if you will. Start asking these businesses, are they reporting serious, suspicious activity? If I make a transfer of $10,000 or more in a bank, they could be reporting to the IRS that that's a suspicious activity if I've never done that before. Are we imposing those kinds of regulations and rules on this industry? And then finally, we just have to punish the wrongdoers as a way of deterrence and hit them hard. And then I think we can find that balance.
And John, one other question while we finish up. Sport. I think of the Gladiator movie where, Russell Crowe is like, "Are you not entertained, Roman Colosseum?" But the role of athletics in our society is, you can't even understate how big it is. The culture, the amount of money, and then you get a story like this that questions the underlying integrity of it. And I just wonder, obviously you mentioned the importance of freedom and free markets, but what should we as a society be keeping in mind with something that's just taking such a prominent role in our everyday life?
I think we have to understand that you get the behavior in society that you incentivize. And if you incentivize this type of behavior, then it's going to be normalized as we move forward. And whether that's in our political arena, whether that's in the sports arena. And I think it's a question that we really have to ask ourselves. And there is going to have to be a fine balance between that freedom and regulation. But we've been able to find it in the past. I think we can find it again. But we got to start asking those questions now, because otherwise, things that we thought unbelievable will become normalized behavior.
Great analysis. Such an interesting topic. Appreciate you joining, John. Good to see you. John Deaton.
Thank you for having me.
Coming up, federal officials say the truck driver who caused a deadly crash in California should have never even had a commercial driving license. We're going to have that story. We'll be right back after the break.
Welcome back. President Trump expanding his administration's fight against international drug cartels, touting the success of his Homeland Security task forces yesterday.
And the president called off a federal surge in San Francisco, Portland, Chicago, and Memphis. NTD's Washington correspondent Mario Otsu brings us more from the White House.
The cartels are waging war on America, and just as I promised in the campaign, we're waging war on them like they've never seen before.
President Trump is touting the successes of his Homeland Security task forces in removing illegal drugs, lethal weapons, and foreign terrorists.
It should now be clear to the entire world that the cartels are the ISIS of the Western Hemisphere. In a matter of weeks, the task force has made the largest number of arrests of cartel leaders, operatives, and gang members in American history, more than 3,000 and counting.
This is coming as Secretary of War Pete Hegseth Tuesday announced the 9th strike against suspected drug smuggling boats near Latin America.
So our message to these foreign terrorist organizations is we will treat you like we have treated Al-Qaeda. We will find you, we will map your networks, we will hunt you down, and we will kill you.
Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem says that fentanyl has been cut down by 50% coming into the U.S. and that 3,200 terrorists have been taken off the streets, while President Trump says that since January, over 120,000 criminals have been arrested.
In recent weeks, our Homeland Security Task Force has seized more than 70 tons of deadly narcotics, along with more than 1,000 illegal guns. And that's just recently. This is already the most successful anti-cartel and anti-gang operation in American history, and it's just getting started.
This while President Trump is calling off plans that would have surged federal agents into San Francisco this weekend. after speaking to the city's mayor, who President Trump says promised to turn the city around.
So we are holding off that surge, everybody, and we're going to let them see if they can do it.
The president heard him out. He said, okay, I'll give you a chance. We'll be watching, and if you need us, we are here.
We appreciate that the president understands that we are the global hub for technology, and that when San Francisco is strong, our country is strong.
President Trump says he'll be focusing on other cities like Chicago, Portland, and Memphis. Mariotsu, NTD News.
An illegal immigrant from India is accused of causing a fiery crash that killed 3 people in Southern California. Federal officials now say the truck driver involved should not have had a commercial license in the first place. And a warning, this report includes footage that some viewers may find disturbing.
A 21-year-old semi-truck driver is accused of being under the influence when his rig slammed into several vehicles on Interstate 10 in Ontario, California earlier this week, killing 3 people and injuring 4 others. Investigators say Jashanpreet Singh, an Indian national, entered the country illegally in 2022 and later obtained a commercial driver's license from the state of California. Dashcam video suggests he never hit the brakes, and police say toxicology tests indicate he was driving while impaired. The crash involved 8 vehicles, including 3 other big rigs that were involved in the collision, and left at least 6 people injured, in addition to the 3 who were killed. Homeland Security officials say Singh was first stopped by the Border Patrol in California's El Centro sector in 2022 and was released pending an immigration hearing under the Biden administration. 2 of the 3 people killed have been identified as Clarence Nelson, a former assistant basketball coach at Pomona High School, and his wife Lisa. The White House confirmed that California issued Singh a driver's license.
I can confirm that California gave this individual a license, and it is something that the Department of Transportation has already looked into. I know Secretary Duffy, who's doing a phenomenal job, has spoken on this many times in the crackdown that the Department of Transportation is taking on these licenses that are wrongfully being issued to people who clearly do not deserve to uphold these positions.
Federal officials say California upgraded Singh's commercial license despite clear warnings from Washington to stop issuing non-compliant credentials. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy told Fox News yesterday that California's decision puts lives at risk. Duffy said the tragedy would have never happened if California had followed new federal licensing rules issued last month. The Department of Transportation has now ordered California to identify and revoke all non-compliant commercial licenses within 30 days or risk losing up to $160 million in highway funding.
I'm doing a quick review of their lack of compliance for our rules. I have the ability, and I'm going to pull almost another $160 million. And then I have the ability for California to say, listen, you don't follow any of these rules that keep Americans safe. We're going to revoke your ability to issue a commercial driver's license.
Newsom's office responded saying the federal government approved Singh's federal employment authorization multiple times, and this allowed him to obtain a commercial driver's license in accordance with federal law. The San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office filed charges against Singh on Thursday. Singh remains in jail awaiting arraignment on 3 counts of vehicular manslaughter and driving under the influence. Authorities have not specified which drug was involved. He is scheduled for an arraignment today. Meanwhile, Florida Attorney General James Utmeyer says he's continuing to investigate another deadly crash that killed 3 people in August. Utmeyer confirmed a Fox News report saying the truck driver, another illegal immigrant named Harjinder Singh, who killed 3 people in a crash in Florida in August, failed a written test for his commercial driver's license 10 times before finally receiving a license in Washington state. Utmeyer said the private driving school where Singh took his training course will be hearing from his office soon.
New York Attorney General Letitia James will make her first appearance in court today for an arraignment hearing before a federal judge in Virginia. James is expected to plead not guilty. She's charged with 2 felonies related to mortgage paperwork, bank fraud, and making false statements to a financial institution. In a court filing, James says she's asking for a dismissal due to, quote, the unlawful appointment of U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan, President Trump's former personal lawyer. In her filing, James recommends combining her motion with that of former FBI Director James Comey, who is making a similar argument about Halligan. Trump appointed Halligan as the interim U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, and she was sworn into office last month. James' legal team did not say why they believe Halligan was illegally appointed.
The number of children in New York City public schools dealing with homelessness is reaching a record high.
The problem was even brought up during the New York City mayoral debate. NTD's Sean Marshall has more details on the issue.
The number of homeless children in public schools in New York City has been rising. That's according to a report released by the Advocates for Children of New York.
This is the 10th year in a row where there has been over 100,000 students identified as homeless.
But in 2024 to 2025, while overall enrollment numbers declined, the number of homeless or displaced public school student cases rose above 150,000 for the first time ever. What could be contributing to these alarming numbers? And are there fixes to some of the issues that are not being implemented?
Based on what we hear from families directly, as well as data from the Department of Homeless Services, that the lack of affordable housing, fleeing domestic violence are both two of the top reasons why families give that they are seeking emergency shelter.
Jennifer Pringle, the project director at Advocates for Children of New York, is able to put some reasoning behind what's going on.
As if we want to break the cycle of family homelessness, we have to make sure that students get the support they need in school so that they can be successful and graduate and go on and live full independent lives and never return to homelessness. Students who don't get a high school diploma are 4.5 times more likely to experience homelessness as young adults.
Pringle also mentioned another study on New York data. It found that students in shelters who don't graduate from high school are more than 2 times more likely to experience homelessness again as adults. The homelessness problem was a topic for the second debate for New York City Mayor. The outdated transportation system for displaced children was mentioned.
Right now we have school bus contracts that are over 45 years old, 45 years old, that do not meet the needs of today's students, which means that students in temporary housing oftentimes have ridiculously long commutes to get to school. This should not be happening. The city should rebid the contracts, get new contracts in place that better serve today's students and especially students in temporary housing. Second thing, the state also plays a role in this. Right now, school districts do not get any additional funding to meet the educational needs of students in temporary housing. This should change.
The overall rate of student homelessness rose in every borough relative to 2023 to 2024 and was once again the highest in the Bronx, followed by Manhattan. Sean Marshall, NTD News.
Thanks to Sean for that report. The Social Security Administration says this month's government shutdown won't delay next year's benefits.
The agency says it will announce the 2026 cost of living adjustment, known as the COLA, today.
Nearly 75 million Americans will see that increase reflected in their January payments. Experts expect the adjustment to be around 2.7 to 2.8%, about a $54 boost for the average retiree.
That's in line with long-term averages, but some experts say it's still not enough to cover rising costs. Officials say the shutdown has paused most federal data releases, but not the one needed to calculate the Social Security COLA. Coming up, French authorities continue to investigate the brazen daytime jewel heist at the Louvre. The suspects remain at large, but police may have caught a break. We're going to have that and more. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to NTD Good Morning. I'm Carrie Dunst. If you're just joining us now, here are some of today's top headlines. President Trump has ended all trade negotiations with Canada, blaming a $75 million Ontario ad that used Ronald Reagan's image and voice to criticize tariffs. Trump called the ad fraudulent, saying it was meant to sway an upcoming Supreme Court hearing on his tariffs. The Reagan Foundation says the ad misrepresented Reagan's words, while Ontario Premier Doug Ford defended it as factual. The Supreme Court will hear arguments on the tariffs on November 5th. And the holiday travel rush could soon hit turbulence as the government shutdown stretches into its 4th week. The White House warns flight delays and cancellations could grow if the stalemate continues, while thousands of air traffic controllers and TSA officers work without pay. Meanwhile, U.S. mayors are urging the Agriculture Department to fund November food benefits for millions at risk of losing their aid. And more than 30 people, including current and former NBA stars, are being charged in a case involving illegal sports betting. Portland Trail Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups and Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier are among those who are arrested and charged yesterday. Billups also faces charges in a separate mafia-backed poker rigging operation involving members of the Italian-American mafia. Both Billups and Rozier have been placed on leave by their teams, and the NBA says it's reviewing the indictments. And Alaska Airlines says flights are slowly returning to normal after a nationwide tech outage grounded planes yesterday. The glitch also hit its regional carrier, Horizon Air, prompting a temporary ground stop. It's the third major IT outage this year, and Alaska says delays will continue as it repositions planes and crews. Those are this morning's top headlines. Steph, back to you.
Thank you, Carrie. And an update on the Louvre heist investigation. Reporters say French police have discovered DNA on items left by the thieves. Samples were reportedly found on a helmet and gloves left at the scene of the crime. French prosecutors didn't confirm if the samples belonged to the suspects. And authorities also have a new video showing the thieves escaping the Paris museum. The thieves stole 8 pieces of jewelry from the world's most visited museum in a brazen daytime robbery on Sunday. In a matter of just a few minutes, the perpetrators were able to break display cases with power tools and escape with the jewels. Authorities have estimated the value of the loot at over $100 million. The thieves sped away on mopeds, dropping a 19th century tiara during their getaway. Police are working to recover the items before they're potentially broken down into pieces and sold.
And Secretary of State Marco Rubio arrived in Israel soon after Vice President J.D. Vance departed the country. U.S. officials are continuing to work with Israel and other allies in the Middle East on the Gaza peace plan. NTD's Jason Perry has more.
Vice President J.D. Vance's convoy was seen in Jerusalem on Thursday. The vice president visited the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the site where many believe Jesus was crucified. Israel's government spokesperson commented on Vance's trip there.
Whether you are Muslim, whether you're Christian, and whether you are Jewish, you have an opportunity to go to these incredible holy sites. And that's the beauty and that's the magic of Israel.
Also on Thursday, Vance met with high-level officials, including the Chief of the General Staff and the Minister of Defense, as the U.S. and Israel continue to work together on the peace plan for the Gaza Strip. Vance said he was in Israel to see how U.S. troops would be able to supervise and mediate the peace without putting U.S. boots on the ground in Gaza. He also said an international security force, or ISF, was going to take the lead in disarming Hamas.
There are certain countries who I expect will be quite good at it. There are other countries that can play a role, but I don't think are going to be quite as useful. But a lot of that depends on which forces actually come to bear and how we're actually able to implement this phase 2 of the peace plan.
Vance then boarded his flight back to the United States. And soon afterwards, Secretary of State Marco Rubio landed in Israel, where he was greeted by U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee. Rubio is also expected to continue working towards implementing the 20-point Gaza peace plan brokered by President Trump.
But we feel very positive about it. We're making good progress. It's amazing that in just 7 or 8 days, the kinds of things and systems that have been set up. No one's under any illusions. We've already done the impossible once, and we intend to keep doing that.
Meanwhile, Israel's ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon, said the struggle was not over because 13 deceased hostages remain in Hamas captivity. Hamas has been using construction equipment to search for the remaining bodies of deceased hostages and said they were serious about returning their bodies. A mother of 4 in the Gaza Strip shared her thoughts on the situation.
We are afraid that the war will return again. When the escalation happened last time, we were afraid the war would return. We couldn't believe the truce had happened because we are tired.
Meanwhile, Israel says that hundreds of trucks carrying humanitarian aid are entering the Gaza Strip every day. Jason Perry, NTD News.
And staying with Europe and the Russia-Ukraine conflict, Lithuania says 2 Russian military aircraft crossed into its airspace yesterday. Officials say a fighter jet and a refueling tanker flew about half a mile into Lithuania from Kaliningrad before turning back. The Lithuanian military says Spanish Eurofighter Typhoon jets were scrambled under NATO command to intercept and patrol the area. Lithuania's president called the incursion a blatant breach of international law. Russia's defense ministry denied any violation, claiming its aircraft never crossed another country's borders. Analysts warn that Moscow's actions are part of a growing pattern to test NATO resolve.
And moving on, Amazon plans to use robotics and AI to automate tasks that will save on labor costs, according to a recent New York Times article. Earlier this year, CEO Andrew Jassy made similar comments about white-collar staff about AI agents, urging the staff to become more familiar with utilizing AI, according to a report in The Guardian. Amazon is now the second largest employer behind Walmart in the U.S. The company refutes the Times article. The spokesperson told the New York Post, quote, "Leaked documents often paint an incomplete and misleading picture of our plans, and that's the case here." Joining us to discuss this topic of AI and robotics in the workforce is Kay Rubacek, author, writer on human value and AI. Kay, it's great to see you. There are several themes here. The first, that AI and robots are coming for your job, though there's often this adage, similar to Andy Jassy's advice to staff, that you're not going to lose your job to AI, but to someone who is better at using AI. So what are you observing with AI, both in the white and blue-collar labor forces?
We are seeing things that we just cannot predict the future right now. We're hearing experts on one side of AI are saying expect all jobs to disappear within 5 to 10 years. Others are saying we just need to adapt because this is a new technology. We have new tools. I think Amazon is a really good bellwether to look at. Whatever they're saying about the leaked documents, we can just look at what's out in the public. Amazon has 1.5 million human workers. They now have 1 million robot workers. And what you're seeing there on the screen is that's one of their robots. They're not walking around with legs and hands and looking like humans, though they do have one that looks like that. So it's integrating humans and machines. There's one that does look like a human there. It's a humanoid robot. Amazon really leads the way in terms of integrating technologies into their systems to be extremely efficient, to a point where we start to question, how do the humans fit in this machine-operated entity? So we just don't know exactly how this is going to pan out, but we're seeing huge changes very quickly.
Yeah, all technological innovations do lead to disruption. How they affect humanity, that's another thing entirely, which I do want to explore. Eric Trump told Epoch Times' Jan Jekielek in his American Thought Leaders program that it is these robotic and AI technologies that are going to allow the U.S. to reshore manufacturing from many countries, but particularly China and an adversary, because we can build stuff better, faster, cheaper with this next wave of technology than outsourcing to other human workforces. So what are your thoughts on that? Clearly showing the other side of it, right?
We absolutely need to be creating these technologies here in America, because what we're seeing coming out of China, we can only see on the surface, but inside those technologies, whether it's an appliance, whether it's a humanoid robot or something going into the workplace, something going into the home, China is an adversary, and they are known to put chips and things inside technologies where they can be tracked, monitored, even controlled offshore. This is a huge issue that really has to be addressed. And we're only going to see more and more of it as we see more of these movable autonomous machines. So that's what they are. They have their own, it's different to a screwdriver or a tool where you are controlling it on and off. It has its own ability to make decisions on its own. That's where we have to be very careful.
Yeah, they use the word, it has agency, and it thus is agentic, almost like your real estate agent, is carrying out intelligent actions on your behalf, or someone with power of attorney. This has agency. So onshoring from adversary, clear benefits, but what are the risks you see with these autonomous manufacturing facilities and other sort of robotic technologies?
Well, I really like to take a look at the human cost, because I think that's not something that businesses look at enough. And when we look at society, how do these things affect us as human beings at an individual level and on a human level? So at Amazon, we're seeing their efficiency just go through the roof, where they're able to get us our Prime deals the same day delivery. Sometimes they have 11 minutes from order to shipping for some of their deliveries. That's a number. It's just unfathomable, the amount of precision that they've got to. But what about the humans in that? There have been, Amazon does have a very high human turnover of 8 months on average. That's people are not sticking around there for many reasons. Amazon has a patent out on a new wristband that will monitor humans in the workplace to know exactly what they're doing, when they need to take breaks and rest. And that type of precision, treating humans as machines, is something I think we need to be very cautious and really concerned about, and putting in some guardrails so that we do not treat humans as machines. Because I think when we start to cross that line, the machines just don't have all of the abilities that an innate human being has innately. And we really need to be paying attention to these things as we get excited by these new machines. We need to have a balance.
Yeah, you've brought up a whole just ball of wax, really, in terms of the ethical concerns. Like, we're really in dystopian times of the novels from 2 generations ago. You know, like you think about like a glucose monitor and the benefits to humans who choose to use them, but you throw a wristband on and you're sort of the man monitoring a workforce, and it just really brings up so many other thoughts. You know, I bought this robot floor sweeper and mopper a few years ago, and I spent more time setting it up and the maintenance with it than actually it took me to just mop the floor. So I eventually shelved the thing. But I want to like put our future hats on, you know, look at the crystal ball. Do you envision a world where it's like Star Wars, where we have C-3PO and R2-D2, like, you know, washing our dishes, mowing our lawn, doing laundry? Like, what does this world look like in 5 years, considering Amazon is pushing the envelope so far and many others are kind of riding in their wake on these new technologies?
Well, I think we are going to be seeing more autonomous robotics, but the humanoid robots have a lot of challenges. And wherever they're being made, China or USA, it's very hard to have them roll out. So I don't think we'll be seeing them as fast as some people would like them to be seen. But I think you nailed it there, Kerry, when you said who is the bosses. What we should be preparing for is the bosses not being humans. Is that in a lot of these workplaces that the bosses will be software and they will be AI systems, and Amazon is a leader in that. They have some of their robots or AI agentic systems. They are really at the forefront of what is going to be running many business operations. And we need to be very cautious of how humans are involved and stay involved, because once you cross a line there, you start to wonder who really is the boss at work.
You bring up such an interesting point. You know, when you call a call center and the moment you start pressing 0 to actually get past the automation, humanoid response to an actual real human, if that was actually the person responsible for making decisions for you as a worker or otherwise, that would be an incredibly frustrating world. What a picture. Kay Rubacek, thank you so much. Great conversation to explore.
Thank you.
Welcome back to NTD Good Morning. We are surrounded by all these beautiful fall ingredients, but the killer one is pumpkin. Very excited.
We are cooking up some beautiful fall meals today with Chef Thierry Mezqua from Papazzul restaurant in New York City. Chef, welcome. I hear that Papazzul has been around 20 years and it's known as the darling of Soho.
Yeah, that's right. 20 years. We're so lucky. We're in a fantastic neighborhood in Soho.
Love it.
And amazing corner, and I welcome everybody. It's really fun area.
Absolutely. And we're going to be cooking some recipes that you have in your restaurant this fall, just for this season. Pumpkin recipes.
Correct,
both,
yeah.
And traditional Mexican recipes.
Yes, that's right. So we're doing a Mexican pumpkin soup and candied pumpkins.
Oh, fantastic.
And so you guys are going to do all the cooking, and we should get started, right?
Yeah, let's make some soup.
All right, so the first thing is we're going to get this nice and hot.
All right.
And you can go ahead and add just one piece of the butter.
Starting with butter.
Let's start. A lot of good things start with butter, don't they?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful.
Excellent. So we'll let that melt a little bit. You can go ahead
give it
and
a little stir.
Yeah, that's good.
All
yes.
right.
Yeah.
And
Perfect.
folks, you can see the ingredients on screen, but if you want to find the full recipe, just scan the QR code that's on the screen as well, and it'll take you to our website.
Oh, look at that.
Okay,
Butter's
perfect.
melting.
So that's good. And now you can start adding the garlic, the onions.
Oh, okay. Some garlic.
And what are we working with over here, Chef?
Oh, over here we have the spices. So we have some ginger, some cinnamon, some allspice, some cloves.
Okay.
And some black pepper.
Can I start throwing that in? Or
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
All right, here we go.
Yes. Yeah, so this is a very, very simple, very easy recipe. And all you have to do is, if you have all the vegetables ready, over here we have the pumpkin. So this, we roasted it and we got it ready and we scooped it out. So that's the number one thing that you want to do. I'd say the hardest thing to do is just cutting the pumpkin. Just make sure you have a really sharp knife.
Look at that.
Okay, and you can go ahead and add all the vegetables. So we have some celery, some carrots, and some leeks.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of
that's
chopping
the stuff.
involved here.
Yeah.
Sure, but you know, it's for a soup, so you don't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Okay.
And yes, beautiful.
Oh, because we'll be blending it up.
Correct. Yes, we're
anyway.
going to put everything in a blender.
Chef,
and
this one is particularly special for Mexican cooking, right?
That's right. Yes. So you know, there's a lot of pumpkin soups all over the world, but see this one, we add some chipotle, and it just gives it a little bit of heat, but mostly it's the flavor, the smoky flavor.
All right,
and
smoky flavor.
You can put one more. It's okay.
Oh, all right.
Okay,
We're gonna
one more.
test capabilities there. I like it spicy though, so
Yes.
we go.
There we go.
You're gonna be ruining me later,
Sounds
but
good. So I'll add some pepper, some salt. You can keep stirring it.
yes. Oh, look at that.
So
Beautiful.
it's the chipotle that gives it the real authentic traditional.
Yeah,
Mexican
and the
flavor,
spices. The spices for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, like if you do this, there's other soups, for example, in Europe, there's different herbs, and they wouldn't use these spices.
Right.
These spices are very typical in Mexican cooking. And so now also we have some honey.
Oh, the honey.
Yeah, you can add some honey.
So the heat and the sweet, right?
Yes, correct.
What's the
you
right
can,
amount?
You can do half of what's in there.
Half, okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Let's
Yeah,
get that going.
it has a lot of flavors. It's going to be really nicely balanced. And so yes. And so so you can stir a little bit more, and then we'll add the water. We'll add some water.
add the pumpkin first or no?
Oh, no, we'll add the water first and then
I
add the
see.
pumpkin. The pumpkin is already cooked.
I see.
And so the idea is to just get this going.
How much water do we want, Chef?
We want 3/4 of that.
3/4, all right.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Fantastic.
Okay.
All right, so, and you can stir a little more. Oh, actually, you can put more water.
More
Yeah,
water.
more
Okay, here we
water.
go.
Yes.
There we go.
Excellent. Great.
And I see
You
this
can stir
blender
that,
is
and
here,
then
Chef.
You can add half of that.
Okay.
Half of the pumpkin.
So this is all going to get into the blender,
Want
right?
to help you with that, or you got it? You good?
Yeah, okay. Thank
All
you.
right.
Do you see the beautiful colors,
Oh,
full
yeah.
colors?
Oh, look at all those yellows and oranges, a little bit of reds.
More?
Oh, yeah, you can put some more, yes.
All right. Okay. And
All right.
Excellent.
it's almost ready
And
for blending.
ready to
is that right?
blend, yeah?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that's right. So yeah, yeah, we're gonna just start blending it.
Okay. Here we go.
All right.
Woohoo.
Beautiful.
There you go.
Okay. Wonderful.
All right. All right, fireworks now, yes?
Yes,
Here
sir.
we go.
There it goes.
There you go. And yes, excellent. And yes, we're gonna add some cream.
Cream, all right.
Yes.
And what kind of cream is that,
So
Chef?
this is Mexican crema. If you don't have any, if you can find any, creme fraiche will be good.
All right.
However, if you can't find that
Okay.
either, you can put some sour cream.
Amazing.
All right, you
So
want to do
basically-
the honors
I'm
there?
so-
Yes, sir.
All right. Oh, excellent. That
All
looks
right.
good. And I know, Chef, you've actually prepared some
Yes.
earlier, which
That's right.
We may be able to have a taste of.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
All right. So
And this
here
is
we
what
are.
the final product looks like.
Yes.
Wow, look at
Okay,
that.
delicious.
So yeah, this
Okay.
is a very hearty soup. It'll warm your whole body.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I really
let's
recommend
go.
it. And as you can see, so simple, so easy to make.
And this
So
is
wholesome.
at Papazul in Soho, yes?
Yes,
This is
that's right.
traditional Mexican pumpkin soup.
And
All
you
right.
can smell
Hot, yeah.
all the spices, the cinnamon.
Thank you.
All right.
You're
And
welcome.
while I'm going to enjoy this, but I'm very eager to learn about
go.
candied pumpkin as
Yes,
well. 'cause
that's
this has
right.
quite a
That's the next
tradition,
one.
this dish, right?
Yes,
right.
absolutely. So
Oh, yes.
should we start the
Let's
second
start,
one?
but this,
Okay.
Oh,
this
but
is
wow,
ridiculous.
that's the stuff.
Isn't it?
Oh,
Yes,
it's
yes,
beautiful.
yes, yes, yes.
We'll have to
So
save
you can
that
have that
for
with some bread or
afterwards.
some tortillas.
Hope you don't mind if I just sort of eat this soup
Okay.
while we
Go
make
ahead.
candied pumpkin. So.
Absolutely. You can eat and we'll get this going.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
Excellent.
That's right.
So you can
All right,
go ahead
let's
and
do it.
add the
Add
other
the
piece of butter.
Okay, here we go.
Okay,
There it
and
goes.
this is
Everything.
also very simple to make. It's very quick.
Sugar, right?
Yeah, you can add. So
All
this is
of
unprocessed. This is unrefined Mexican sugar.
Okay, and we're putting 1 star anise in
Yeah,
it,
just
please.
1
Is that
star
right?
anise.
Okay.
Correct.
And
Some
how much
you
of
can
this?
put
Just a hand?
6 cloves is good. Yeah.
Okay,
6
that's
cloves,
fine.
okay.
All of the...
Yes, all the
yeah,
oranges
this-
are fine. Yeah.
Excellent.
So as you can see, we're
Oh,
these
beautiful.
are.
Look at those oranges.
Oh, and a
This is
beautiful...
Ooh, no, we
Was
don't want
that
to
too
the whole
much?
thing. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Hey, it's an art, not a
It's my
science,
fault.
right?
It's my fault.
Your staff are getting a
Now,
little out of
some
hand.
water. You can add some water.
Okay.
Look at that,
let's do
too.
it.
That's
Yes.
beautiful.
Oh yes. So,
whole
so
thing?
yeah, I want
That's
you
the
to see this
Mexican cinnamon,
Mexican
right?
cinnamon, which is very citrusy.
Citrusy
Okay, that's
compared to
perfect.
regular.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, some vanilla,
Vanilla, all right.
and we'll add the the.
I'll need to ask how much of this.
Oh, go ahead.
Just a,
Yeah.
just a
A
dash?
little more, yeah.
Oh, man.
Perfect.
Oh,
That's
okay.
excellent.
All right.
Okay, and now we're going to add. So you see this? We just clean the pumpkins. If you don't peel it, it's okay. It'll work.
Okay.
And you want to cut them in fairly big pieces,
Wow.
so that
this
they.
turns into that, right?
That's right.
It's quite easy to go
Pour
from
it
this
out.
to that, right?
Yes, that's right. You just need a sharp knife.
Sure, just
Yeah.
get your steel and you'll be in good shape.
Yeah, and so what you're doing here, you want to bring this to a boil,
Okay.
and basically then you're gonna lower the temperature and let it cook slowly, so that
Yep.
the liquid becomes a nice syrup.
I'm already getting the aromas off
Yes,
this.
yes,
I
yes.
can just imagine you're watching some football on the
Right.
couch
That's
and
right.
it's just filling
Oh,
the
yeah.
house with these beautiful aromas.
And
Oh.
in fact, traditionally you can have it for breakfast. You can
This
have
is
it
a
with
breakfast
some milk.
food.
You can have it with some milk. You can have it room temperature or warm.
Syrup,
it
a
works.
big component, right?
Correct.
So that's
yes. And so yeah, so you bring it to a bowl, then you cover it and you let it cook slowly until it gets nice and syrupy.
Okay.
Okay.
And what's the finished
Excellent.
product look
All right.
like?
So here we are.
So cuts
So-
you've seen, and
Yes,
we have
sir.
this. That's
Yes,
what
sir.
the finished product looks like.
So there you go.
Wow.
And
Pleasure.
yeah, so yeah,
I
let me-
want to get in on
okay.
that if I
That's
may.
right.
That looks
Absolutely.
fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Let me just get a spoon
Yeah.
right here. Okay.
Hey. Oh, what a treat.
Now this dish particularly is associated, one of a few, with the day after Halloween, November 1st, the Day of the Dead in Mexican culture, right, Chef?
That's right. Yes. So in Mexican culture, people go to the cemetery to remember their loved ones or their friends. And so the tradition is, let me add some crema for you.
Oh, beautiful.
The tradition is that you stay overnight with the whole family and you bring some of the food or anything that your loved one. Yes, sir. Please. Let me. This is an orange. Let me give you.
Oh, beautiful.
More here. There you go.
And you were telling me one of the members of your kitchen staff said that this dish reminded them of small-town Mexican childhood, right?
Yes. Yes, especially in small villages, basically the whole village goes to the cemeteries. And you can imagine some of these cemeteries are centuries old.
Oh, wow.
And so it's very spiritual.
Yeah, I can imagine the reverence of going to one's, ancestors' burial spot. And just how special that must be for the whole community to come out.
Yes. And people sing, and they do drink, but it's a very calm, very spiritual, very.
Yeah, watching the sunrise with your whole community must just be.
Oh yes, you can imagine.
Really special.
And some of these cemeteries are on top of the mountains, and it's beautiful.
But the spices in this are very unique.
Oh yes.
Very,
Yes.
very beautiful.
Thank you so
warming.
much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Chef, it's
Some
such
sort
a
of
pleasure to
cinnamon.
cook pumpkin with
Thank
you
you.
for the fall.
Thank you so much.
I think this gets everybody into the spirit for Halloween and Thanksgiving, and of course, the upcoming Day of the Dead. Chef
Wonderful.
Terry Amezcua, such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank
Yes,
you so
of
much. My
course.
pleasure. Thank you so
And
much.
we do have
Thank
to
you so
end
much.
our show on this note. We're wishing you all a wonderful weekend. Get ready for the fall. Get ready for Halloween.
And have a great weekend.
That's
Thank
right.
you so much. And I just want to say hello to my family and my beautiful kids and my whole staff at Papatsu.
Yes, have a great
That's what it's all
weekend.
about.
We'll see you on
Thank
Monday
you.
morning.
See you.